We've been coming up to the school every day this week and painting, whether it be the classrooms or the hallways or the walls. They encourage us to have breaks just to rest, but also we get to interact with the kids, whether it be feeding them mangoes from the trees that are in the backyard of the school, or going right outside the gate and playing with them, giving them piggyback rides, trying to speak with them even though it's hard for most of us. And with playing with the kids, they don't necessarily receive a lot of love in their homes. It's nice that simple things like giving them a piggyback ride and letting them play basketball on your shoulders so they feel taller and stuff. Something so simple brings so much joy and happiness to them.
This week I've been painting and spackling at the school, and it's really important because these children don't have an opportunity in the place that they're at to have the sort of education centered towards Christ, which is really important. At the school they give them like meals and an opportunity to really get to know Christ, which I feel like me helping out has really made a huge difference in my life and theirs.
So one of the things that we did a couple days this week is we went to two of the villages that the kids who come to Macarios live in. There was Chichigua and Pancho Mateo. And we played with the kids a lot there. We played jump rope, we played soccer, all kinds of things. And in Pancho Mateo, there was a little girl named Mary who just kind of jumped on my back, like a lot of the kids were doing. And then in one of the corners of this basketball court that we were playing on, there was a bush of flowers that a lot of the kids were pulling flowers off of and giving them to the kids. And I just thought it was really cool how they just, while we were there trying to give some to them, like some love to them, they were just trying to give back to us.
The first day, me and my team, we cleaned out a cafeteria. The second few days, we've been painting, and we've found a lot of spiders. But in the second half of those days, we've been going out to do village visits. They had a basketball court we got to play on with all the kids. And I remember I was playing against one of the kids, and a lot of them were playing on a concrete court, and they don't have shoes on. The smile that he had every time he scored was just, it really made me feel pretty good.
I'd say that the most impactful experience for myself has been when we went to this town called Pancho Mateo, which is a small village which Macarios is helping out a lot of the families in. And I met this kid named Carlos, who at first was shy, but as soon as I invited him to follow our group on our tour, he really just opened up, and it was awesome to see his huge smile when he asked for piggyback rides and to wear my sunglasses. And as I carried him around, I just realized that it's so awesome that just a simple act of showing a kid some love can really change his whole outlook for the day. Because oftentimes what I've found myself doing is just overlooking and taking for granted the love that I receive at home. But when you come up to a place like this, love isn't such a commodity, and the lack of love around here makes any love that they receive so precious to them. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to really find joy in love, and the joy of Christ comes through love.
The most impactful thing that's happened to me this week is that I went to a village and I was walking around with a little boy his mom is the principal at the school, and he speaks a little English and a little Spanish. And we sat down next to an older woman, and she starts talking to me, and I obviously don't know that much Spanish. And the little boy started translating, and I didn't understand what she was trying to say, but she was pointing at the sky and she was going like this, and she was saying a few words that I didn't really know the meaning of, and the little boy says, "She's asking if you're a Christian," and she's saying that Jesus is her rock and her life. And it's made me realize that I'm so fortunate in life, but so is everyone else who has a relationship with God. I look at someone who, in my eyes, has nothing, but in her eyes, she has everything, because she has God.
What was most impactful for me this week was just playing with the kids. I know that like the first couple days, everyone was feeling tired and sweaty, and a lot of us didn't really want to. But for the past couple days, I've been playing Monkey in the Middle with Isaac and Sumari, And it was so cool to see how like even though we don't speak the same language, we can still like tell them what we want to do, and like they can still like kind of get their point across. It's so cool to see just how like our love for the Lord and our love to play just like transcends all those boundaries. And it's so cool to see like even though we don't speak to each other, we can still communicate through our actions and just share the love of Christ. Going back to the States, it's so easy just to get frustrated with people, but I think this has shown me a lot, again, just how much compassion we need to show. Even though we may not like speak the same language or we may not be understanding each other correctly, we really do need to just like have love, because you never know like the full impact of just a tiny bit of kindness. Like you can, even just being kind to one person can spur them on to more kindness and change the entire world.
Yesterday we went to another place called Chichiwa, and that was a lot more run down. They have a wall up there, and that was a wall separating basically the rich from the poor. And there's that really poor village right on one side, and then the rich people on the other side with their, private estates and protective walls. I think that that's kind of a metaphor for what people like me can do a lot, where we build a wall separating ourselves from the others. And Christ calls us, and he showed us how to love everyone, and not just, love the few people who are like you, not just love the people who it's easy to love, but love everyone. And I think that's a big lesson I've learned on the trip.